Good morning, everyone. So we will have another English class today. So, did the last class make sense to you? What was the last class about? It was about tenses and verbs, right? So we saw how verbs change their forms when they are connected to different subjects and also when they are expressed in different time, right? So to express time, what do we use? We use tenses, right? So now, what do I have with me today? What is this? This is a book, right? So today we will have an exercise where each one of you will come and just read a paragraph, okay, so that we can work on the communication skills and whatever little pronunciation we can improve. And also, after reading the paragraph, you will be explaining whatever you have learned in your own language, but in English. Okay? So, will you be able to do that? Does that seem interesting? Okay. So, this is a book that is about animals written for small children. Okay. So, the English is not very tough, it's easy. Okay. So, who will come first? Aditya. Will you come? Okay. So choose a paragraph and start reading.
Can I?
Yeah.
Amazing adaptable animals. What is an animal? Animals are organisms that have senses and can breed, move, eat, and reproduce. One of the biggest differences between plants and animals is that plants make their own food through photosynthesis, while animals must digest plants or other animals for food.
Okay.
Ma'am, in this paragraph, here is talking about the animal.
Here, the book the author is talking about. Okay.
Here, the book or the author is talking about the animals, and it is mentioned here that animals are organisms that have senses and can breathe, move, eat, and reproduce. Mm,
Can you
I,
explain that?
yes, ma'am. I can say that these are the basic features of an animal that
Basic features and characteristics,
yeah,
which will better fit here.
characteristics.
Yes, because we are talking about a living organism or a living animal, right? When you talk about features we normally assign it to anything that is non-living or maybe a scheme or a policy, right? We talk about the features, and when we talk about the personality, we can say characteristics. Okay.
Animals are organisms that have senses.
Yeah.
It means animals can sense the
Sense. What is another? How can we express sense? It is how we feel, right? So, how do we feel? We feel through,
physically or
yeah,
emotionally.
yes, we feel emotionally also, we feel physically also. And with respect to our bodies, how do we feel physically? We hear with our ears, right? So, we hear or we listen. Does that make us sense something?
Yes.
Yes, it makes us, it helps us to know what is happening through sound. The medium is sound. And how do we sense?
We can see
We can see. We can see with our
eyes.
eyes. And we can
We can also smell
smell. We can smell with our
noses.
nose. And We can touch. And what do we feel? How do we touch and we feel with our skin,
Yeah.
right? With our skin. And the skin is spread throughout our body. So everywhere we get in touch with anything, we can sense the feeling, right? And what else?
And we can breathe.
Yes, we can taste. These are the 5 principal senses. How do we taste? When we taste, we can feel the different differences between the spices, the notes of spices, whether it is sour or it is sweet, whether it is salty, savory, right? How do we express things which are made of salt? Savory. Okay. For example, samosas are savory, while gulab jamuns are sweet. Our traditional Assamese pithas are mostly sweet, right? And animals also.
And animals also can breathe.
Yes, breathe. How do we breathe?
Through nose.
Mostly through our noses. Now that my nose is blocked, how am I breathing?
No.
Through my mouth, right? So we can breathe. And what do we breathe in?
Yeah.
We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Very good.
And also move.
Move, yes. How do we move? What helps us to move?
Our foot.
Our limbs. Which are our limbs? Our hands, right? And our legs. These are our limbs. Our limbs help us. Our limbs help us. Our limbs
Help us.
help us. It is not helps us because it is in plural, right? And what?
And eat.
Eat. How do we eat? When we eat, we sense
Taste.
the taste, right? How do we eat? With our
Mouth.
mouth. Very good. And there is a very interesting organ in our mouth. What is it?
Tongue.
It is the tongue that helps us to taste. Right. Very good.
And also we can reproduce.
We can reproduce, which means we can give birth to the offsprings, right? So, can this blackboard give birth to a similar blackboard? No, but human beings can. Animals
Animals can.
can. And
Organisms.
other organisms.
Microbes.
Even, yes, even if microorganisms, those organisms that we cannot see with our naked eyes, right? Even those things can reproduce. And this is a special characteristics of living organisms. They can reproduce. Very good.
One of the biggest difference between plants and animals is that the plants make their own food through photosynthesis.
Yes. So, can you explain?
And plant can make their own food through.
Plants can.
Plants can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis.
Yes. What is photosynthesis? What does the word photosynthesis mean? Synthesis. See, there, yes, photo. There are two. How many words here?
Two.
We have got 2 words. What does photo mean?
Photo means light.
Light, right? Photo means light. And what about synthesis?
Synthesis, it means combination.
Synthesis is to create, okay? To synthesize, to create. So, with light, the plants create. They make their own food. Can we make our own food?
No.
We can. We can go to the kitchen and make our own food, right?
But
So,
that is not similar to the plants.
that is not similar to what the plants can do, right? Or this is not similar to that of the plants. Okay? Why is it not similar? Why?
Because plants can make their food through their internal internal,
Yes,
what can I say?
metabolism or process, right? So their own process helps them to eat their own food, make their own food, right? But we have to take the help of
Others.
others, be it plants
Or animals.
or animals, right? So we have different animals which eat only plants. What are they called? They are called herbivores, right? And their characteristic is herbivorous. That is a noun. Okay. So, and we have some animals which eat only fruits. What do we call them? We call them frugivorous. 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 Right? Or frugivores, right? And there are animals which eat only meat. They cannot digest plants. So, what do we call them? Carnivores. Very good. And some of the animals, they can eat both. What do we call them?
These are omnivores.
Omnivores. Very good. Yes.
And while animals must digest plants or other animals for food, um,
While
while animals must digest plants or other animals for food, which
yeah,
we have already
yes,
discussed that animals cannot make their own food by their internal
own
process.
might, yes.
So they have to eat food from others. That means from plants or
From other animals or plants, right? Very good. There is a slight thing that when you are speaking, there is a read again.
plants.
Anything? Yes.
Animals are organisms that have
You that have right. You can diminish that thing. That will make you more fluent in the communication. Okay. So when you become conscious, when we talk, we might not notice few things of our own, but when we communicate, we get to know. And when we get to observe our own things, then we can rectify those. Right. So that is the only thing that he needs to be, you can modify it or rectify it. Otherwise, your reading skills are good. Thank you, Aditya. Next, can we have Richa? You can read any of the paragraphs here.
Animals that live in colder climates are more likely to survive if they can stay warm and hide from predators. That's why Arctic hares develop thick white coats in the winter. The extra fur keeps them warm and makes them harder to see in the snow. Any ancestors born without this ability probably didn't survive, as well as those who were able to blend in. The concept of natural selection is sometimes referred to as survival of the
Fittest.
fittest.
What did you understand from this paragraph? Read one sentence each and then explain.
Animals that live in colder climates are more likely to survive if they can stay warm and avoid from predators.
And
Predators.
which one were you reading? Stay warm and hide from predators. What were you pronouncing this as?
Hide.
Hide. Okay. So continue and explain it to us. What did you understand from the paragraph, from the sentence?
Animals which live in colder climates are they
Yes.
can speak as much.
No, you have to speak in English. Only then your English communication will improve. Your SMS communication is good enough, right?
Which animals live in colder climates? They survive.
Yes.
Still,
Use simple language, simple sentences.
ma'am,
Huigusenige. Okay.
animals are
Yeah.
more likely to survive if they stay warm climate.
Yeah. So let me explain. Uh, for examples, animals that live in colder climates. What does that mean?
Which animals live in colder climate? Cold climate.
Cold climate. What is it like living in cold climate? Where do we find cold climate in India? In the hill stations. It's very cold, and we have to wear what? Warm clothes, right? Warm clothes, and warm clothes are made of what? Wool, right? So animals that live in colder climates are more likely to survive if they can stay warm, which means they will live. So what does the word survive mean? To be able to live, right? To be able to live. So can you tell me a sentence with survive? Another sentence with survive. So here, what is survive? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? What is it? It is a verb, right? So use it as a verb. And what is the noun form of it? Survive well, right? So use it as a verb and make a sentence.
People can adjust to survive in cold and warm climate also.
No, people can adjust to survive. Come again.
People can
People can
adjust to survive
adjust to survive
any climate.
in
Any climate.
any climate. Which people are you talking about?
I can I want to express that people mean, people can make their life in
Okay, you are trying to say that if people can adapt, they can survive at any place, right? So we'll have to what? What does adaptation mean? Adapt and adopt. What is the difference? Adapt and adopt, and there is another word adapt with a E here, O and A. What are the differences? You can look at you can search in the internet and let me know. What does adapt means with an A? Is to,
become familiar.
yes, become familiar or condition oneself, right? So are fishes adaptable without water? Can fishes can a fish adapt to uh, an environment where there is no water? Can we pull out a fish out of water and make it survive? No. So what does adapt mean? To condition oneself or to make familiar with. Okay. What does adopt mean?
Child adoption.
Yes. So that means to bring up a child or take his or her nurturing care onto oneself without giving birth. Okay, so we can also adopt puppies, right? There is a very famous quotation: adopt, not, do not buy, but adopt, with respect to animals, right? With respect to puppies. Why do we say so? Why that saying goes that you should adopt rather than buy a puppy?
So many stray dogs are there in our roads, and they give
What?
birth. They are puppies
They have
in
no home to stay.
They have no home. Better explanation is that when we bring, maybe, have you seen huskies? Have you heard of that particular breed called husky? And Labradors, German Shepherds, right? These are dogs which are meant to stay in colder climates, right? But what kind of climate do we have here? Not temperate, tropical or semi-tropical, right? So when they come here, they have to adjust to the moisture. They have a thick fur coat, right? So we have to, we are actually harassing them by bringing them out of their comfort zones, out of their homes, to adjust to our needs, because we are greedy. We think of it as a status symbol. We want to elevate our status by buying a dog, right? Expensive dogs. So that is why. But look at the local breeds. Look at Bho that is around in the campus. Does he need any care? Not much. He feeds, right, from whatever leftover we have or some extras that we give, right? And he does not need that extra care. But what happens when we bring a husky to our place? Can you tell us?
Our climate is not perfect to
Our climate is not perfect or conducive, suitable. Similar words, right? Not suitable
for this dog.
for his survival. Okay, so now we have used the word survive in its noun form. Okay, so come up. Okay, we were talking about adopt. So when we bring up, right, someone else's whatever offspring or whatever dog or whatever, adapt. What does adapt means with an E?
skillful and something.
Skillful, right? Very skillful. He is adept. Can you give me a sentence with E? Adept. Our online students can also participate. Yes. He is adept at playing the piano, right? Or he is adept at
Playing basket.
basketball, writing, singing. You are adept at singing, right? So we got to know about 3 different words that sound similar, look similar, but have totally different meanings, right? So to adapt means to adjust ourselves or to condition ourselves to that environment. Okay, so tell me another sentence. Now, this sentence was not very good. Can you give me another sentence with survive in the past tense? Yes. In third person. So third person will be
He and she.
he and
She.
not she. She.
She.
He.
She.
He.
She. She.
He. Okay. She or
It.
it. Yes. He. So in the past tense, what form will survive take? Survived. So tell me a sentence. What will you use amongst these? Which one will you use? He, she, it.
I don't think
Yes.
he
He. He.
survived.
He survived.
Can I use any place?
Yeah. Yeah. Or condition. He survived.
Survived in another country
Huh.
for
In another country
uh, for his business purpose.
for his business. Okay. Or we can say he survived cancer, which means he fought cancer or he had overcome cancer. Okay. And very good. So you have given us a good sentence. And so here it says animals that live in colder climate are more likely to survive if they can stay warm and hide from predators. So what did the last part of the sentence say? If they can survive, if
I don't know what is the meaning of predator.
predator. So what is a predator? Okay, I will explain and then you will be able to know. Predator. Okay. So which are the predator species? Which are the animals that feeds on some other animals? Okay. So lion eats the deer. Okay. So it is a predator for the deer. Okay. Then maybe the foxes eat rabbits. Okay. So which will become the predator now? Which animal will become the predator now? The foxes feed on rabbits. Which is the predator species here?
No. What is it?
Okay. What are you saying? Okay. So correct it.
What?
Ma'am, what are
What are you
trying to say?
trying to say?
I am trying to say is that predator is an animal that feeds or eats other animals. Okay. So if the foxes feed on the rabbits, then which is the predator species here? The fox, right? So could you understand what is a predator? So what is it? What is this part of the sentence trying to tell you? They're likely to survive if they can stay warm and hide from predators. They will survive if first condition is what?
Warm.
Yes, if they
If they
Make themselves warm.
make themselves warm.
let us speak. If they yes
Make themselves warm.
make themselves warm or if they can stay warm, right? If they can stay warm. And the second condition is
Hide from predators.
hide from predators, which means what? The second sentence. What do we mean by hide from predators?
They protect themselves.
Yes, they can protect themselves from predators, right? Only then they will survive. First, they have to stay warm, okay, because it is cold. And when they will be able to survive, when when they can stay away from predators, hide themselves from predators, right? And protect themselves from predators, right? That's why Arctic hares develop thick fur coats in the winter. Now, tell me which is the word that you do not understand here. There is an effect, right? Which means
Arctic hares means
Spell. Come again. Pronounce again.
Arctic hares.
Not Arctic. See, there is a C there. Arctic.
Arctic.
Arctic. See,
Arctic.
Arctic. Arctic.
Arctic.
Yes, Arctic.
Hares.
Arctic hares. What are hares? Have you heard of hare? The plural form of hare is hares. Okay, what is a hare?
In this.
Yes, what can you see in the picture? It looks like,
This wizard.
no, not that, but this one. How does it look like? This one. Wow, rabbit. It looks like a rabbit, but hares have longer ears. Okay, and there are other differences also. This is primary when you can easily notice which one is a rabbit and the other one is a hare. And also hares are bigger, okay, in structure. So Arctic hares. So those hares, we can also find hares in tropical or temperate climates. Okay, so hares which live in the Arctic zone. Which is the Arctic zone? Northern hemisphere around the North Pole area, right? So what does the sentence tell us here?
That's why Arctic hares develop thick white coats in the winter.
Yes. So what do they develop?
Thick white coats.
What is thick white coat? They're talking about,
Their skin.
yes, the fur, right? They develop fur. What kind of fur?
Thick.
Thick, yes, which means, what is thick?
That
That. Yes. And
white coat.
white. So Arctic hare are very cute. White furry animals, right? So they develop thick white fur because they have to survive, and which condition they have to fulfill?
Stay warm.
Stay warm. How do they stay warm? Yes, that fur helps us to develop, to keep themselves warm. Otherwise, do we have fur? No, we steal from other animals for that fur, right? We kill other animals and steal their fur to keep ourselves warm, right? Yes. So, did you understand? What new words did you learn today?
And hares
Yes.
and also predators.
And Arctic.
Arctic.
Yes.
Yes.
And next sentence.
The extra fur keeps them warm and makes them harder to see in the snow.
Yes. So the fur also helps them fulfill the second condition, which is how? How? Richa, tell us how?
Harder to see in the snow.
Yes, because the fur is white in color and the snow is also
White.
white, so they camouflage. So what is camouflaging? Have you seen the chameleons, diapia,
Yes, ma'am.
Despia? And when they stay over the leaf, you can't properly figure out which is the leaf and which is the chameleon. So they can camouflage, which means they can adapt themselves so well that they are seen as if they are the object on which they are on, right? So because they have thick white fur and because the fur is of which color?
White.
White. So who cannot identify them?
I don't understand.
Who cannot easily find them? Because they are white in color. From whom they can save themselves from?
Predators.
Yes, predators, right? Because the predators, when they see around, they see all white and the Arctic hare, they can save themselves from the predators, and that's how they survive the cold climate, right? And the next sentence.
Any ancestors born without this ability probably didn't survive, as well as those who were able to blend in.
Yes. What does the last sentence tell us?
Last sentence.
Yes, read each word and tell me which word you did not understand or do not understand.
Ancestors.
Do you understand about ancestors? Who are our ancestors? I am an Ahom person. My ancestors came from today's present day Myanmar, right? So, who came? My ancestors. Who are my ancestors then? The people who the people in my lineage who were born before me, right? So, অসমীয়াত কি ক'ব? পূৰ্বপুৰুষ, হয়নে? So, ancestors means পূৰ্বপুৰুষ. Yes.
Any ancestors born without this ability probably didn't survive.
Yes. What does that mean?
এইকেইটা মানে কোৱালিটি কেইটা নাথাকিলে মেম
No, you have to speak in English.
right there. Ma'am, that bird cannot survive.
That
Bird.
bird,
Cannot.
bird, but we are not talking about birds here. Yes. Yes.
Okay, ma'am, can I say animal?
Yes.
That animal.
The animals.
The animals cannot live without their ability. Without their ability.
No, which animals are we talking about here? Ancestors. The animals who were born before them. The particular, which species we are talking about? Arctic hare. Maybe before them, other species may have occupied that space, but they might not have survived. Why? Because they might not have fulfilled these two criteria. What were the criteria? These two criteria. Maybe they did not develop the fur. Maybe they could not hide themselves from the predators. Okay, that might have,
They can survive.
Yeah, they didn't survive. That might have exposed themselves, or they could not adapt themselves to the environment or the climate. Okay. Yes.
As well as those who were able to blend in.
As well as those who were
able to blend in.
As well as those who were able to blend in. Any ancestors born without this ability probably didn't survive, as well as those who were able to blend in. As well as those who, what do you mean by the word blend? Blend. So, women mostly, girls mostly, they know the word blend very well. Why? Because they use makeup and they are very interested in blending the makeup, right? So what does blend mean?
Spread.
And mixes very well, right? So spreads well, mixes well, and it seems as if it is a second skin, right? So what does blend mean? We also use the word blend while we are painting? We blend the colors, right? Right? So what is blending? Can you understand the word blend now?
Mix up.
Yes. So the animals that could not adapt to blend in, they could not survive, right? Yes, very good.
The concept of natural selections is sometimes referred to as survival of the fittest.
You had read the concept of nature selections, but there is no S there. The concept of natural selection. Can you tell me the scientist who gave us this concept? It is Charles Darwin, right? Charles Darwin. So he experimented a lot, right? And with his experiments, we came to know that
Concept of survival of the fittest
the concept of he gave with his experiments, he gave us the concept of survival of the fittest. What does survival of the fittest mean?
means those who make themselves fit in the changing climate or changing environment. Those only those animals can survive for a future.
Survival of the fittest, which means, Richa,
Which animals serve পরিবেশগুলো আবার adjust হয়ে পেলে আমি
no, you use the English language,
animals which live
which
which can
which can
their
prove, right? Which can prove themselves as the fittest, right? Have human beings been able to prove that they are the fittest?
yes, ma'am.
To some extent, to a great extent, right? And that is the reason that we have survived. Okay, so survival of the fittest, it applies this thing, this particular concept applies to your preparation as well. Okay, so only the fittest, only the most competitive, only the one who keeps on going and who does not give up, he is chosen as to be the fittest and he wins the race. Okay, he wins this competition and he gets into the service. Okay, so what does the last sentence mean? Read again.
The concept of natural selection is sometimes referred to as survival of the fittest.
Yes, the concept of natural selection. Natural selection. The selection which is done by
Nature.
nature. And how does nature decides? How does nature selects? Now, your selection into UPSC or APSC will be done by whom? By the commission, by either UPSC or APSC, right? Now, this commission will select, right, you as an officer, right? But in our environment, who selects us? It is the nature. And how do nature select? Who do nature select? Which are the species that nature selects? The ones that prove themselves to be the fittest, right? So what does the sentence tell us? Natural selection, which is also called survival of the fittest. These two are same. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And what does your sentence tell us?
The concept of natural selection is sometimes referred to as survival of the fittest.
That is it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. The concept of nature selection is sometimes referred to as survival of the fittest. Okay? So, did you learn anything from this paragraph today?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you learn?
Yes, I learned.
You learned a lot of things, right? And I can see that you have improved your speaking, your language communication skills as well. So, congratulations, Richa. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And can we have Dipti here next? No, why not? Okay, Pori can come. And this will be the last one for today. সহজে এখন এই হেৰি ইউৱানহঁতৰ কাৰণে অনা কিতাপ এইফালে চাব পাৰে এইফালে চাব পাৰে
Desert are found on every
Desert,
are found.
desert are, read again,
Desert are found.
read again.
Desert. Desert.
No, you are reading the word are. So,
Deserts are.
yes, deserts are. Because when we are using are, it has to be followed by, it will follow a plural, right? So, if we say desert, then it is a single desert. When you say deserts, multiple deserts, right? Yes, deserts are
On every continent except Europe.
Europe. Okay, what does that mean? What does the sentence mean?
And desert Europe is
Tell the same thing in English. Yes, you have understood it. So explain it in English.
deserts are on every continent except Europe. Means desert are
Remodify the sentence.
stay.
Yes?
Deserts are stay on every continent.
Stay will not be a proper word to use. Because stay, when do we use the word stay? What does stay mean? I stayed at the hotel last night. Okay? So it means to live. Do deserts live or stay for a temporary period? Do deserts do that? No. So deserts, the sentence mean that if it is in active voice, convert it in passive voice, then your thing will be done. Yes?
Except Europe.
We can find deserts in every continent, which means everywhere there are deserts. There is only one continent, Europe, where এখনে মহাদেশ আছে য'ত ডেজাৰ্ট নাই, য'ত মৰুভূমি নাই, সেইটো কথাই ক'বলৈ কৈছে. So there is only one continent, Europe, where there is no desert. We cannot find desert there. If we go to Europe, do we see any deserts? No. And come to the next sentence.
The world's major hot weather deserts include the Sahara in northern Africa,
Yes.
the Kalahari Desert in southern Africa, the Arabian Desert in the Middle East, and the Gobi Desert in Asia.
Okay. Explain.
World's major hot desert.
Use the word we can find. We use the words we can find and reframe your sentences.
World hot desert we found.
No, I am asking you to use this phrase. We can find.
We can find hot desert.
Hot deserts.
Deserts, Sahara, Northern Africa. In Northern Africa.
Yes, we can find the hot desert. Why are we using the article the? We are talking about one particular desert which is found in where? That is the name of the desert which is found where? In Africa, the continent Africa. So what kind of desert is it? Hot desert, which means we can also have cool deserts, right? And again, use the word we can find.
The Kalahari desert in Southern Africa.
Yes, use the words.
We can find the
We can.
find the Kalahari Desert um, Southern Africa in Southern Africa.
Yes. And
And the Arabian Desert in the Middle East.
use this phrase.
We can find Arabian Desert.
We can find again, you are not using one particular thing that I corrected you just a minute ago.
We can find the Arabian
Yes.
Desert, Middle East, in the Middle East,
Yes.
and the Gobi Desert. And we can find the Gobi Desert in Asia.
Yes. Very good. And that's it. Very nice. So, what did you learn today?
The article is
The use of the article da, right? So, what did you learn today?
use of article the.
I learned to use the article the. I learned how to use article, when to use, how to use the article the, right? So, when do you use the article da?
When I say specific word,
When I want to express, want to tell about a specific place, or I want to express something specific, then we use the article the. And what else did you learn?
I learn article the. I learn
Also, you have learned about.
desert,
Yes, you have learned about deserts. So, deserts are available.
Africa, Asia, and
No, everywhere in each continent. How many continents do we have? If you have to specify, then you'll have to name all the list, all in the list. So, how many continents do we have?
মই কিমানখন কণ্টিনেণ্ট জানো সেইটো কৈছে
Oh, মানে আছে আপুনি সিমানকেইখনে জানিব যিমানকেইখন আছে হয় নাই, তাতকে বেছি জানিব নেকি আপুনি, বা কম জানিব পাৰে নেকি? নোৱাৰিব নহয়, কিমান আছে? So what are they? Then what are you trying to say? What you say is incorrect. Okay, ma'am? What are you trying to say? Because what you're saying is without a helping verb, right? So in certain sentences, you will have to use the helping verbs, otherwise your sentences will be incomplete. Okay, so what are you trying to say? Okay, so I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to tell you is, tell me about the names of the continents in the world. How many do we have?
I do have 7
We have.
We have
It is not only you. Have you bought all the continents? Did you buy all the continents? Then it belongs to all of us, right? So,
we have
yes,
no we have no 7 continents.
we have not, do not use the word no, or we know 7 continents. Okay, so tell me.
Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Australia.
So how many did and
Antarctica.
Antarctica? So these are the 7, right? So where do we find deserts? Can we say everywhere? Can we say everywhere? Why not everywhere?
Because except Europe,
Because in Europe, form the sentence. In Europe,
you can find
we
one
we
uh,
we can't
find
find
desserts.
deserts, or we can't find any desert, right? Or there, form the sentence with there. There are.
Uh, there are
Ye-
no desserts.
Yes, there are no
Desserts.
desert. There are no deserts. There is no desert in Europe. Very good. Pori has also improved, but what I can see is you are still struggling with the sentences which have helping verbs in it. Do you want another class for helping verbs? Yes. Okay. So we'll try to have our next class with helping verbs again. Okay. So did you have fun today?
Yes, yes.
Who did not? The people who were called, or the people who were not called. So we will, in the next class, Dipti and Shatabdi will present. Okay. Now don't take it as an excuse to be absent in the next class because ma'am will be calling my name. Okay. So you will have to come and you will have to participate. So thank you so much. And we wrap our session here. Thank you.